I welcome you to come into my shared world. To better understand what these acupuncture needles actually do, and to learn what my thought intention is, which I use while working with patients in the Redwood Clinic. I hold and view my patients from prior to their birth to their impact on the world, even after their passing. I call it the pre-cradle to post-grave approach. By the way, this is not a picture of a current patient. The Iceman was found in 1991. Apparently died at age 45. Iceman is a 5,300-year-old corpse. Tattoos found on his body suggest that acupuncture has been around for 5,300 years. This is a very old understanding of our body's innate healing power, having persisted from at least 5,000 years ago. These charts and figures illustrate the energy points on the body that we use in acupuncture, and perhaps that I may have used in a previous life on Otzi. Like the electrical system that fuels and controls the lights, computers, and TVs in your house, our bodies also have an energetic structure that fuels the cells, organs, and brain. It is the DNA blueprint of our potential. It is also a result of what we have done with our lives, our experiences, our encounters. It projects our personality. The system also fights off germs. It is ultimately our power. It is also our warmth, our physical bodily warmth. If you have a short circuit or bad light switch in your house, your life is obviously disrupted. So you have an expert fix it. Analogously, this is what I do. I fix the damage in your energetic structure using the master circuitry in your body. That's what acupuncture is about. That's what I hold in my mind as I'm working with patients. So exactly how does this energetic structure begin? Tens of thousands of competitive and goal-oriented sperm cells try to find and merge with a single, nurturing, trusting egg. This is the start of something special. Think of this as the potential you, the exciting and optimistic you, the you may have forgotten because you didn't have a brain at the time to remember it. All of the components of the cell are electrically charged. Together, they create the first swirling and dynamic electrical structure. This is a picture of a cell with the various organelles in it made out of food. So we have this cell, a dynamic, pulsing, energetic structure, all swirling and changing, that is found and nurtured inside a warm matrix of movement, emotion, and a setting of sweet and nourishing thoughts, hopefully, developing in the womb. Cell replication and division occurs. 1 into 2, 2 into 4, then 8 cells, like the trigrams. Sweet 16, 32, 64 cells, as in the I Ching and the hexagrams. 128, 256, each set of dividing cells. 256, 512, 1024, etc. Like the progress in digital technology, if you've been around long enough to actually see 256K, 512K, 1024K. However, this progression, this change, this dynamic is way faster and incredibly more sophisticated than any computer you have ever seen. So once we get to way past that number of cells, we have 14, 24 days, 6.5 weeks, 8 weeks, and then 4 months here as we gradually develop into a more distinguishable form. Eventually, we develop into 75 trillion cells, which work together to talk, hear, see, smell, taste, listen, even snore. Does this feel familiar to you at 75 trillion cells? These 75 trillion cells are associated then into tissue structures, into organs, into functional systems. But all of these elements are organized by an energy structure overlay, which is adjustable by acupuncture needles. This is the incredible thing about acupuncture, and why it is so deep and penetrating and helpful for the body. The acupuncture needles, like radio antennas, are used to get a crisp and pleasurable information and musical communication from the massive influx and jumble of waves and information hitting your body all the time. Let's talk about real examples of treatment. A woman came to me after a lecture I gave on stress. She was under stress from all directions: work, home, even smoking marijuana daily. Her competitive nature as a problem solver was being affected by panic attacks, and her hormones were a mess after going off birth control pills. She also couldn't sleep well. We used a combination of acupuncture, herbs, and nutritional programs to address her sleep and panic attacks. The lab test had showed her adrenal glands and female hormones were out of balance. We restored the balance in her system. She was able to sleep. Communication with her husband also improved. She became pregnant as she had wanted and has a very healthy baby. I help many children in my practice. A mother brought her 3-year-old son in for frequent colds and asthma requiring medications. She and her husband were weary parents due to late nights of wheezing and disrupted sleep by their son. I started with children's acupuncture, Japanese style, herbs, and nutritional suggestions. The mother was on board from the start. The therapist's father was a little leery of homeopathy. After in-depth conversations and establishing a level of trust with the father, we added homeopathic remedies to also address the weakness in the energy circuitry. They stated, "Our 3-year-old son Oliver suffered from asthma whenever he got an upper respiratory virus before coming to see Dr. J. The pediatrician was recommending a daily steroid. We decided to see Dr. J instead. Oliver received massage, homeopathy, and supplements, and has been seeing Dr. J for 1 year now. He's had no asthma symptoms since starting at the Redwood Clinic, and unlike visiting the pediatrician, he, Oliver, enjoys coming here. Thanks. Oliver's mom and dad." Example number 3 is a professional woman in her early 40s. She's a public speaker and storyteller who's been getting laryngitis and colds frequently because she has a 6-year-old daughter who gets colds and passes them on to her. Her focus is on immunity. She's also trying to build her business and wants to increase fees and getting over the loss of her father who died recently. This individual is very impatient for results. This problem has been around for 6 years. So we set up a long-term plan with systematic tracking of the results. We also created a payment plan so she could get the care that she needed but couldn't pay for up front. Her reserves of energy were quite depleted, and it does take time to build those back up on the person. Overall, the focus is on the whole body with extra attention on the most weak systems. Her most weak systems were the lungs, which are related in 5-element theory to the metal element. The metal element also is related to a deep focus on self-esteem and self-worth. Metal element is related to gold, silver, platinum, things that have great intrinsic value. It's also related to the emotions of grief and letting go. We did treatment with acupuncture and herbs, including hypnotherapy tapes to help with self-esteem, public speaking, financial success, fear of success, and fear of failure. Over time, we got her to the point where she was not having colds. She did not experience the laryngitis, which prevented her from doing public speaking, and she also felt very confident in raising her fees and actually getting them. The next example is a 70-year-old man with low back pain who wanted to avoid surgery. As a civil engineer, he was very detail-oriented and likes my precise and systematic explanations of what we are doing. This individual works all the time, gets a lot of things done, but also is very involved culturally. One of the things that I quite admire about him and his wife. With acupuncture treatments, he's able to work with no pain. He can stay focused on the job he wants, and he can also spend a long time at cultural events like ballet and orchestra without having to get up and leave in the middle. He was also able to cut back on his hours, even though he is a workaholic. It's been more than 15 years now, and he is still avoiding surgery. He comes in periodically for tune-ups, and we also referred him out for chiropractic care. Like many other men his age, he is now discovering some issues with respect to what's called erectile dysfunction and male menopause, or andropause. We're approaching this in a step-by-step approach to see what the underlying causes are and how to help him. With respect to pre-cradle to post-grave, he has always been helping his grandchildren and other family members by helping to pay for ADHD issues and treatment for that. Thus, he has his influence, both genetically and nurturingly, way beyond his own lifetime, as those of his children and grandchildren become healthier and healthier and can prolong their lives as well. What did this patient say in his own words? Acupuncture has allowed me to continue my active life, skiing, gardening, etc., even though I broke my back as a teenager. I'm going on 70 and hate to think in what shape I might be had I followed my MD's suggestion and had back surgery. So those are 4 examples of patients I've seen based on this philosophy of feeling and holding, while doing the acupuncture, this pre-cradle to post-grave perspective in my mind as I'm doing the treatment. Returning the body to healthy functioning is not always so easy or fast. It takes time and trust. Acupuncture helps keep you healthy, like taking care of your car or your house or a garden. It's a lifetime process, and actually it is beyond a lifetime if you're passing on that heritage to others after you. I'm Dr. J. Sordean at the Redwood Clinic, helping you get healthy and stay healthy for a lifetime and even more.